The virtue to cultivate is not avoidance of pain, but to embrace comfort, the good kind of pain in the present that is required for inner growth and for learning or mastering of any skill, and which will result in our spiritual upliftment. Why is progress so difficult? The reason is we all love to be comfortable. But as the saying goes, all progress happens at the end of your comfort zone. If we wish to improve, to evolve, and learn any skill in life, we will need to learn how to bear with pain and discomfort. Glenn Cunningham was a young boy in the beginning of the last century in Kansas, America. As an 8-year-old, he would accompany his brother early to school in the winters. They would start the boiler so that when the other students arrived, the school would be warm. One day, unknown to them, someone had poured kerosene into the container. So lighting it led to a huge explosion. Glenn's elder brother passed away on the spot. He himself became unconscious. When the doctor looked, all the flesh on the knees and shin had been burnt. All the toes on Glenn's left feet had been destroyed. The doctor suggested amputation of the legs, but Glenn fiercely refused, and his parents decided to support him. For the next 2 years, Glenn was on wheelchair. However, when his mother was not looking, he would bear with extreme pain and discomfort to force himself to stand. One day, lo behold, he was again walking. Exerting himself, he started running. And finally, he was running so fast. In college, he began winning so many races. He became known as the Kansas Flyer. He then became one of the finest middle distance runners in the world. And in the year 1934, that boy, for whom the doctor had suggested the legs be amputated, broke the world record in the 1 mile run. What was his secret? His ability to bear with discomfort. Why are there so few people who succeed as world champions like Glenn did? Because of our love for ease and our desire to shy away from pain. When we were infants and there was a bit of discomfort on our face, our parents rushed. Oh, my child is hungry. My child needs to sleep. They strive to alleviate our discomfort. And as adults, the same need to run away from pain remains without realizing that this is what sabotages our ability for progress. One psychologist related to me his experience with consulting overweight patients. He said, Swamiji, the primary cause of their obesity is their inability to bear with the pangs of hunger. They immediately rush to alleviate it by putting food in their mouth. The best advice to them would be to bear with the rumblings in the stomach for a little while. But even the thought of it is unbearable to them. These obese patients were avoiding the pain of hunger, but in the process setting themselves up for a lifetime of pain due to being overweight. So the fact is, we always have two choices. Either you have fun now and regret later, or bear with pain now and lead a life of liberty and growth later. If you wish to become an accomplished public speaker, there is only one way to do it. Bear with the pain of going in front of audiences even though your mind complains. And then as you do it again and again, the mastery will be achieved. If you wish to become a master in the violin, there is only one route to it. You have to tolerate the pain of the training regimen until you become an expert. The same holds true for meditation as well. When you sit down for meditation, the mind will complain. It will run towards enjoyable and fun-filled thoughts. You will have to bear with the discomfort of forcing it back again and again on the object of your meditation until the state of meditation becomes natural. So whether our aspiration is for material progress or spiritual growth, we will benefit tremendously by enhancing our ability for discomfort. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in this regard, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna. He said, learn to become as tolerant as the tree. Why should we become tolerant? Because then we will build our mental immunity to remain unaffected in the face of negative situations. Take inspiration from Socrates, the wise old man of Athens in France. His wife had a terrible nature and would hurl abuses upon her husband as a form of entertainment. But Socrates would tolerate and brush them aside. One day, his wife had been particularly vituperative, and finally, in a rush of fury, she took a pail of water and emptied it on his head. He dismissed it by saying, "That's how it should have been." The wife said, "What do you mean that's how it should have been?" He said, clouds first they thunder and then they pour. That is exactly what you did. Again, take inspiration from Sant Usman, a Sufi saint. While he was walking on the street, someone threw ashes upon him. But Sant Usman, rather than react with negativity, bore that insult with wisdom. Look what he said. He turned to the sky and said, "My Lord, how kind and merciful you are. I am such a fallen sinner. You should have thrown burning coal upon me, and all you did was to throw ashes. You are so kind." Imagine the person who threw the ashes, when he heard that, how he would have melted like water. These saints had mastered the art of tolerance. So the virtue to cultivate is not avoidance of pain, but to embrace comfort, the good kind of pain in the present that is required for inner growth and for learning or mastering of any skill, and which will result in our spiritual upliftment. That is why Saint Kabir has said, "Nindak niyare rakhiye, aangan kuti chhabaya, nit sabun pani bina, nirmal kare subhaya." He says, if you are serious about cleansing your heart, then Get a critic. Put him in your courtyard. Adorn him with a tilak. And beg him to start insulting you. Bear with them with a calm, peaceful mind. Without soap and without water, your mind will be cleansed. The golden rule of life is that achieving growth and positive change is always an uncomfortable process. It requires learning new skills by exerting our mind and intellect beyond their present limits. Despite the unpleasantness, we must continue to practice. Then the boundaries of our comfort levels will expand outwards, and the desired transformation will happen. So many things that we do easily now were once difficult to us, but with training, they became natural. Hence, the secret of success is not to be dissuaded by discomfort. This does not mean that we deliberately put our hand in the hot stove to create pain. That would be pure stupidity. But we must remember that the biggest enemy to progress is within us, our own inability to bear with inconvenience.